not bad yourself.
Great. Okay, so today is objectives, success criteria, actions, and implementation. First one, the thing I can probably kind of give you area I need to improve on is how to better control my class. I'm not necessarily always in the best control of the entire group. When it's half-half, it's actually just fine. But when I have the entire lot together, I do run into some problems. How to measure if I have been successful? Well, I will have physical control of them, right? So,
Yeah.
Awesome. Actions. Well, we've talked about this before. I need a stronger voice. If you're going to contribute to that.
Well, I was going to ask, because I read over this before, have you considered changing the way in which you set up your classroom in terms of seating arrangements? Maybe instead of having them just traditionally, you have them either around the table or facing the board, have them facing each other in a circle or anything else, try to see if that
So what
works.
I have changed is they tend to sort of just do this. I don't know why they do it. They either are taught to do that or they just naturally do that for the other classes. They do this straight line business, which I don't actually like because the kids that are in this back row, I have no idea what's up with them.
Yeah, plus they're out of general reach of the teacher.
And how they decide who sits where is it just sort of kind of happens, and I just go with it. And I have started taking the extra time to spread them in like a proper circle so I can see every individual child, and having like the troublemakers at the end, not in the middle where there's two candidates who are distracted and only one, or taking that kid and having them right next to me with a job to do. So that has helped.
Yeah, you can also, depending on certain activities that you do, you can have them in two parallel lines. So the board's here, and you've got the two lines here. Yes and no, but I mean, for example, team broken telephone, which is a game where you have two people come up, you whisper something to them, and then they have to put down a line. And the last two people stand up and say the sentence or whatever it is that they're trying to do. In a game like that, it's very useful to do it that way. Also, if you break them up into teams, right? If you break them up into teams, often they'll police each other, but it does mean that you have to choose teams where there's at least two good kids and then so on and so forth, so you can set examples. That's just a couple of ideas that might work.
Divide the class into levels.
Yep.
So you have a group of higher level, a medium level.
You know the piano teacher decides that.
No, I mean like you say when you have the full 24 kids. So like you have your 6 good kids, excellent kids, you stick those together. Then your next group of kids where they might only need a little bit of control, and then you can spend more time and more focus on the more disruptive kids who need the extra help, because a lot of the time the reason why they're disruptive and troublesome is because they're either not challenged or they're not focused or they need extra help. Another way of doing it is like if you're sitting them in lines is to have them in boy girl, which would also help with control. And
This is why I prefer to mix. You suggested having the good kids in one group, medium kids in another group, the worst kids in the last group, in order to focus the teacher's attention. I prefer to let the kids kind of self-monitor each other by allowing 2 or 3 good kids to keep everybody else on track. Also allows them the opportunity to help those struggling kids within their building up, leadership roles and skills and things like that.
I do agree. I think there's pros and cons for both for both techniques. Because like for example, if you have your stronger kids in one group, you'll only need to correct them a little bit, and then you can move on to the less strong and work your way down to the so then you don't need to go back and keep checking, or you can focus more on your weaker kids.
I suppose so, yeah. I'm a big fan of games too.
But I do agree with you with like peer-to-peer learning does help.
I've done that so we can't do that in front of the board, we don't have the room, but I've moved them over to where they actually sleep when they pull the beds out.
Yep.
And they didn't even know they were paired up into twos. They thought they were paired up boys, girls, but really they were doing interaction things across from each other. But this only works when the other classes aren't coming in and disrupting the whole thing. So it's not available to do that every day.
Your classroom, you're quite lucky with your classroom where you've got a door you can lock. So, for example, if you're in,
Not allowed to lock it? I thought you have to leave it
yeah,
open.
no, you can, as long as you've got one door open, you're okay. If you're in the working area, where the sleeping area, sorry, I would lock that door. Then they're only going to come in the opposite door.
Also keep in mind, you're going to have about 15 minutes. The thing to do is to limit
Yeah.
activities to 10 to 15 minutes and then utilize the 15, 20-minute period you know the class is going to be there. That would also, for example, so the first 5, 10 minutes, you wouldn't do an activity that would be over there, and then certainly you end in 5 minutes before a break time would come.
Again, if you and I both know, we don't know.
Well, yeah,
It's hard to plan that because you think, okay, you've observed this for the last 2 weeks. At this time, we're free, and then on that particular day, oh no, today is.
true, that is one way of looking at it. The other thing is I would just do it.
Yeah, another thing we like what Kurt's saying is having that time and having things arranged for that time, is have your transitions between each exercise nailed down. For example, if I'm playing a card game or a flashcard game or something,
The good one to add to my list is how is actions is the
transitions. So, for example, if I'm doing you do the introduction of the target words or sentences. So I'll do the flashcard review with that, and then the card will go down on the floor, and then straight after, once the last card goes down on the floor, we do like a flashcard jump game or a flashcard race game. So like these very little downtime in between.
Yeah, that's the key really to getting good timing anyway, is whatever activity you finish with, ideally it's
It leads on,
setting up
yeah.
or is set up for the next activity. That's one of the reasons why I always allow my kids to sing the song. We do the song twice in the unit. First time they sing it, you must sing. Second time, go dance. I don't care. Get up, burn your energy. And while they're dancing, that gives me time then to set up for the next activity or even switch to the next electronic page and get everything ready and seats aligned properly so that when they come back, we're already ready to go. And they've burned off some energy and they get to have the fun of dancing and not having to listen to me, and I get them to go away for about 2 minutes.
Okay.
Anyway.
We need to move on to those reward
Yep.
them. Implementation of the week, we kind of just talked about that, so that's kind
Yep.
of great. Track my admin. Okay, so that is something I'm always so on top of. I need to work on how I break down my tasks to make sure I get everything done. So better organization, just organize my files and my computer more efficiently.
Is this in the implementation of your lesson plan or in creating the lesson plan itself?
Not necessarily the lesson planning. Well, lesson plan is okay because I have a book that I sort of draw from, and today I asked Zach what the art class was going to be, and then I paired up some of my other activities with the same theme. That's fine. It's more got to do with tracking every student. In my head, I'm aware of the blah 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 being this way and the blah 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 being that way. But sitting there in class, a situation comes up. It's hard to quickly jump to right. I need to get you to do this now. And I get confused a lot. Are we on group E or group A now? Who are actually sending to because they might change it.
Yeah.
And that makes it hard for me to keep track of what group am I, which kids are in there. Oh, there's like A and B all together today. It's a bit messy.
I understand.
I'd like to be better organized that way because that goes back to classroom management.
Yeah, although a lot of what you said is that there's not a whole lot you can do about it, but tracking individuals,
Yeah.
that can be a little bit easier. Once you've already identified who your best students are and who your weakest students are. Depending on why your weak students are your weak students, you can get them to help others when they're finished doing whatever they're doing, or you can have them go and practice dialogues with one of the very good student who you know will help with that, and that'll free you up a bit more, I should say, in order to focus on these other kids who are just simply falling behind because they just can't keep up, stuff like that. But I mean, I think overall there's a great deal of tracking for these groups of kids. Not necessarily from you, but from a lot of people. So if you do need to find out, hey, why is Joe Blow here not, getting plurals, for example. There's a lot to look
Yeah,
at.
but now I know why. It's in the moment responding correctly when the situation occurs.
Okay. That, and again, that probably depends on the student itself. But comedy always works. Making sure that you can make fun of a kid a lot, as long as you do it lightheartedly and you do it in such a way that allows everyone to enjoy the moment. You can't just go to a kid, well, you're dumb, what's wrong with you? No, but if you repeat what they've said in a hilarious, silly way, and say, does that make sense? Everybody, does that make sense? No, it doesn't. Then you can have a lot more success that way. And it allows you to switch off for a second. We have some fun, now we're back to what we're going to do. Get everybody refocused. The other thing you can do, which our boss has mentioned many times, is always have a backup plan to your plan. I've been doing this long enough that I just happen to have a bunch of activities in my back pocket that I can just pull out whenever I need to. But as for you, just having like even a list of games that you've identified that are applicable to whatever you're doing. Something's not working, or you need to refocus the group in such a way. Think about that list, or if you have it on your phone, if you've got it in the classroom, just quickly look at it. Right, okay. So then switch off to that instead. That might help out.
Implementation, okay, you just kind of said that.
Yep.
Planning, I always plan better. Sometimes I plan great, sometimes I plan less great. I guess that just comes with experience. Success criteria.
I always find for planning better is to go over and make notes on your past lesson plans.
Yeah. And make sure the timing works out.
Yeah.
So for example, if you've got a 45 minute lesson, make sure you've got 55 minutes worth of stuff to do. And that'll actually help you if you keep your checking and make sure that you've got stuff in the back. Because you should always over-plan for the amount of time that you've got. Because sometimes you'll get it right away and you'll be blown away, like, oh, whoops, and then you've got more stuff. Other times it'll be, this is not working and we're not getting anywhere and you're just annoying me, so let's switch to something that you already know or something that you can do.
Switching. Implementation. Easier switching between plans, between activities, or should I put that?
Basically, make sure that you've got a generic set of games that can be applied with lots of different stuff, materials that can be brought up. For example, there's the Disney shorts. If you're ever just the lesson falling flat on its butt, you can just turn around and find one that's related to what you're trying to teach, be it the vocabulary, the sentence structures, the content, stuff like that. Or sing-along songs. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Some really that's not you and your voice and a book, and not even a colorful book. Right? Something that just completely immerses the child and gets the child into it. And you can stop it right in the middle and then ask them a bunch of questions to promote the learning experience as well. And the last one we have.
Translation. You see that I'm doing Chinese versions. Sometimes there's some issues that either there is a fight and I understand what's going on. So I feel like I should make a big effort to learn some basic stuff. No?
No.
Yeah.
Model.
You say something to a child says, well, think about it. And then you respond with, I don't know? Okay, well, and then always provide the English translation to whatever Chinese they're using. I understand it's a bit difficult for you because it's another language that you've got to deal with. But the other side of this is you pre-program the kids with a certain number of questions. This is the functional phrases that I usually do.
Yeah.
The reason I do
Daily
that
English
is
in my
not
class.
because I don't think these kids can't figure it out. It's because I want them to have specific questions at their disposal should there be any confusion. So, for example, how do you say? I don't ever want to hear "Donne choix," whatever. I want to hear how do you say, and then whatever. Good enough. And you won't even ask me that question because I'm not going to respond to the child anyway. You're going to go to the co-teacher who can.
It's more like we have sometimes someone own in there and either a kid is tripped over another kid or they fought and I don't know what they're fighting about and to resolve the conflict appropriately.
Yeah, that again is, if I understand that we're a bit late in the year, but had those questions and phrases been drilled in as much as you could in the first semester, many of your kids will be able to express themselves or talk about the situation that would allow you to come to some determination about whose fault it is, what should be the punishment.
Hey, how are you, man? Good to see you. All right.
The other thing you can do is pay closer attention to their body language. Both before and after whatever incident occurs. For example,
What are you reading now?
You've got two kids who are about to fight, and then you can see it's about to happen, and then you can prevent it by saying, "Hey, do we push each other? Do we respect each other? Yes or no?"
It's very fun.
Interesting.
So make a reasonable prediction about what vocabulary they're going to.
Yeah, a great one is "Teacher, help me." How do you say,
really funny.
"Can I go to the bathroom? I want this, I want that." The basic stuff that you're going to have to deal with on a regular
I
basis.
had a English and that was difficult to solve.
So, like for my class, we have like 6 basic rules.
Take
So,
it easy, man.
be safe, be clean, be kind, always listen, speak English. Okay. So now, for example, if 2 kids are fighting, one kid can say, "Oh, David is not being kind," and then like obviously when we've been doing paperwork and bookwork, when we give out materials, we go, "Okay, please share." We go, and so now like if the children now know like being kind means not sharing, hitting, not listening. So like then they can now start to explain it, again. It's going to be in broken English, but those like my simple rules can then be broken down, which the kids have figured out mostly by themselves to express what's going on. Obviously there's still a language barrier, but you can kind of get the gist of whatever problem it is.
Yeah, and if they've got a basic skill set like that, or sorry, basic vocabulary like that, add in the physical language that's going on, and you'll be able to figure it out. For example, if somebody's saying, he hit me in Chinese, well, if you fail to understand ta da wo or ta ti wo, which is push me or whatever, then they will act it out. Particularly if you're very physical in class, when you're acting out English translations and whatnot, they will then act it out for you, or and they'll give you a better idea. Now, certainly, that the other parts of what you've got on there is learn some Chinese myself so that I can be better prepared. Yeah, given the industry that you're in, focus heavily on everyday academic vocabulary and what most 6-7-year-olds might want to say to their teacher or to each other. For example, my understanding of what a 6-year-old says to me is almost 100%, as opposed to an adult who wants to tell me something which then drops down to 50, 60%. Just learn some basic stuff, and you're good to go.
Okay, that will wrap it up. Thank you.